Howdy-o, everyone! Velocity here, back in action for more little Chesto attraction. That's right, we're in the midst of asking this dude what's he doing. And it's honestly a bit confusing here because, like, this dude doesn't want to go down at all. Then you have another goal besides the title. The title alone doesn't seem to have much value. How dare the likes of you insult the title of a confectionery artist? My only goal was the title itself. I had no interest in anything else. My dream was to become the world's greatest pastry chef. It'd be impossible for your skills. 18 years ago, I was lacking in design sense. However, things are different now. Oh, are you saying you have improved on your craft? Exactly. I have trained at the Republic of Xingfa. Yes. At the time, I also studied Mr. Master's works. I would often watch his show of my son. So you were studying for Mr. Master's work to improve your own skills. You had his recipes, perhaps it would have been easier for you to become the world's greatest? Perhaps. For a pastry chef, Sir Master's recipe were worth their weight in gold. If becoming the world's greatest pastry chef was your goal, you should have also been interested in the grand prize, the Angel's Recipe. Oh! The recipes of the world's greatest pastry chef. I would be lying if I said I wasn't interested. However, I wouldn't think that simply being interested would be a problem. I wonder about that. Angel's Recipe true nature was not for making desserts, but cures. And all the contest participants should have been aware of that. Looks like I'm getting close. He isn't meditating anymore. Now to slowly but surely drive him into a corner. Next, I'll ask what he planned to use the recipe book for. Yeah, do you know its value? The Angel's Recipe, do you know its true value? Silly question. It contained Sir Master's best dessert recipes. Any pastry chef worth their salt would want it. Seems I don't have enough clues for... I didn't know there was another one. Did you intend to win the Angel's Recipe and use it to make desserts? Of course. I obtained the Angel's Recipe. I was going to use it in my training. I hear the Angel's Recipe was worth a lot of money. I don't know the exact details, but that recipe book was much too valuable to be sold. You seem to know quite a lot about the Angel's Recipe. It's explained to all the contestants participate at the beginning of the contest. In that case, you must know the recipe book's true nature. That it was not a recipe book for desserts at all. Impressive, Sir Prosecutor. So you know the true nature of the Angel's Recipe. The Angel's Recipe. Some have called it the ultimate recipe book. It contained formulas for new medicines that were not yet on the market. You knew the recipes were actually formulas for new medicines. This could be a useful clue. The Angel's Recipe. Did you know its true value? Silly question. Contains Sir Master's best dessert recipes. Any pastry chef worth their salt would want it. Looks like the clue will come in handy. You may have studied design in Xingfa. However, your skills in lying could use more work. You just said earlier that the Angel's Recipe contained formulas for medicines. You weren't interested in the desserts. You wanted the medicine formulas. Did you need a new medicine? Now, why would a pastry chef such as yourself be so interested in medicine? Perhaps what you were really after was the information about the new medicine. Ugh. Ugh. I've underestimated you, Sir Prosecutor. Yes, my goal was more than just the title of the world's greatest pastry chef. At the time, my son was ill. I needed the recipe for the medicine. Your son was ill. Tell me more about that. To protect my son's honor, I could say no more. Judging by the worried look on his face, it must have struck a nerve. Next, I need him to tell me more about his son's illness. This is it. This will be my final move of the game. What was the name of the illness? Sir Prosecutor, uncensored of you. My son was seriously ill. I will not be discussing this with the likes of you. Oh, okay, so, no. I need to go into something else. Did the angel's recipe have the only cure? Yes, but the medicine is being sold everywhere now. At the time, the recipe book was the one and only option. That's why I continued making my desserts, not joining the others for tea time. So you weren't interested in what Mr. Master was making. You should have seemed confident in your chances of winning. I couldn't be bothered to pay attention to the other contestants' desserts. Maybe we hit him with it? You just said earlier that you studied Mr. Master's works. In addition, if your goal was to win the contest, in order to get the medicine formula, you must have been curious about the other contestants' entries as well. There was time to sample the other desserts during the contest, but none of the entries had any flavor. So I didn't want to eat any of it. I suspected I may have been a bit nervous as well. So everything he ate tasted flavorless. Oh? This could be a useful clue. What was your son like? What kind of person was your son? Oh, my boy! He loved the desserts I made. Did you enter the contest solely for your son? Sir Prosecutor, you could never understand the feelings of a father has for his son. I want nothing more than to cure my boy's illness. Until the semifinals, my son would always drop by the contest venue to play. Is that so? When did you get in your way? I doubt you had time to care for your son while you were challenging Mr. Masters. That may be so, but I wanted to grant my son's wish. He said he'd always wanted to be the first to eat my desserts. About your son. If you were so sick, wouldn't it be difficult for him to come and play with you? My son's illness, it wasn't life-threatening. That might serve as a clue. What was the name of your son's illness? Sir Prosecutor, how insensitive of you. My son was seriously ill. I will not be discussing this with the likes of you. Here it is. But the illness wasn't life-threatening. You told me that your son's illness was not life-threatening. Is there really a need to be so secretive about it? It was enough to keep him from living a normal life. That must have been difficult for your son. I tried everything I could to cure his illness. It wasn't fair for the poor boy. He could never taste the desserts he loved so much. Was it a taste disorder? The Angel's Recipe contains a cure for a certain illness. A remedy that could also cure Mr. Master's taste disorder. What? He had it too! He had it too. I see. So your son suffers from this taste disorder? No! I didn't think you'd figure it out so quickly! In order to cure your son's taste disorder, you need the recipe book. Wasn't that your true goal? It's as you say. Based on how he's acted up until now, it appears he's still hiding something. Looks like the clue will come in handy. Yeah, don't you also have an illness? Being unable to taste anything, regardless of what you eat. Such a bitter illness. That reminds me, didn't you say something similar earlier? None of the entries had any flavor, so I didn't feel like eating any of it. Wasn't it? Perhaps your son wasn't the only one who suffered from a taste disorder. It's hard to imagine being a successful pastry chef without a sense of taste. Perhaps what you really wanted was to cure yourself. That's completely ludicrous. 18 years ago, I made those desserts all by myself. Yeah, didn't you collaborate? It seems you caught yourself in a contradiction. Didn't you cooperate with Isaac Dover in the contest? You can hardly say you made the desserts all by yourself. No! You must have great pride in your abilities as a pastry chef. But to betray your pride and cooperate with another contestant. You did it all to cure your own disease. Well done, Sir Prosecutor. As you say, the one with the taste disorder is not my son. It is I. No one knew. I've kept it a secret for 18 years. It doesn't matter how long a secret is kept. You lie before me, I will expose it. Dane Gustavia and Isaac Dover were both trying to obtain the recipes for the new medicine. Gustavia to cure his condition, and Dover most likely to sell the recipe book for money. For this reason, they entered the contest as a collaborative effort. And with that, checkmate. Oh, thank goodness. We coming back now, y'all. One logic this time. Two logic this time. Boop, boop. Ugh. You never told this to anyone. Well done. As you say, I developed a taste disorder 18 years ago. Taste disorder? It was a severe disorder. I was unable to discern any flavor at all. The one illness a pastry chef dreads above all. Those symptoms sound a bit different from Mr. Master's taste disorder. Mr. Master's condition is known as hypoglycemia. It simply causes a decreased sensitivity to certain specific flavors. I'm sure it was caused Sir Master much pain too. After all, no medication was available to cure it 18 years ago. In order to cure your taste disorder, you would need Mr. Master's Angel's Recipe. And that's why you enter the contest. Am I correct? That was my goals. But I still had my sights set on the title of World's Greatest. When it comes to making desserts, I won't lose to anyone. Even without the ability to taste, I still have the utmost confidence in my flavors. Oh, so I presume you also prepared your desserts in the finals with intent to win? That goes without saying. According to what Mr. Shields told us earlier, the evaluation of Mr. Gustavia's entry was... Up until the semi-finals, Mr. Gustavia's flavors and designs were to my liking. Unfortunately, Both the taste and appearance of his finals entry left much to be desired. So wild thought here, everybody. What if Gustavia is actually the sculpturer? You know? It seems the dessert you made for the finals is not rated highly in regards to flavor. Mr. Gustavia will tell us about how you made your dessert during the finals. Very well. Seems I must teach you upstart a lesson. He has a little, like, horsey on his thing. Desserts for the finals. Sir Dover and I cooperated until the finals. I handled the flavor, he was in charge of the design. However, for the finals, I wanted to challenge Sir Master of my own skill. I helped Sir Dover make his entry, but I made mine completely on my own. If the flavor of my entry wasn't good enough, my own lack of training was to blame. How about that, Sir Prosecutor? This is the truth of 18 years ago. I can't find any contradictions in his testimony. Well, of course he isn't going to fess up that easily. This guy's been on the run for 18 years, after all. Guess we'll just have to keep on pressing him until he breaks, eh? Yes. Rebut. Alright. Press attack. Activate. So Mr. Dover took care of the design while you handled the flavor? Sir Dover was a sculptor by trade. His sense of design was splendid. But he was just an amateur chef. We combined our strengths by working together. You never did have much design sense, did you, Mr. Gustavia? What do you think of this? It's the symbol of Xingfa. Wow, a phoenix! That is really good! Wow, you really have improved these past 18 years. Behold the fruits of my 18 years of trading. I put my life and limb on the line for my dessert skills. It's true that I cooperated with Sir Dover 18 years ago, up until the finals. Challenge Sir Master. So, you were really serious about the title of World's Greatest Pastry Chef? Yes. Confectionery is my life. Naturally, I wanted to be the world's greatest. But back then, I was still inexperienced, and was no match for a better chef. Your goal was also to attain the Angel's recipe, right? Wouldn't the recipe book be worth more to you than the title? I will not stand by and watch you badger a cognizant man like this. My gavel shall protect you, Mr. Gustavia. I realize he's still recuperating, but... Mr. Gustavia, do not yield to this devilish prosecutor. Now then, please continue with your testimony. That's not good. So you helped Mr. Dover with his dessert, but made yours all by yourself? No matter how you look at it, this seems odd. Why didn't Mr. Dover assist you? It matters not how it seems. It's the truth. I did not know what Sir Dover was thinking. So I'd approve if someone is lying about something that happened 18 years ago. Hey Kate, does your secret weapon also work as a lie detector? If it did, I've already stolen Mr. Edgeworth's spotlight. There's no need for that. I will expose the man's lies myself. Dame Gustavia, please continue with your testimony. If the flavor of my entry wasn't good enough, my own lack of training was to blame. Up until the finals, I heard that you received high praise for the flavor of your desserts. Was there some sort of accident during the finals? Nothing of the sort. I simply was unable to taste my work due to my taste disorder. My intuition must have been off, that's all. Then was your intuition fine while making Mr. Dover's entry? How could there be such a huge difference between the finals and the previous day? We're not getting anywhere at this rate. Should I change the topic? Ask about Mr. Dover. Yeah, about Mr. Dover is the important bit here. You know Mr. Dover before you enter the contest, right? Yes, I knew him well. There we go, there's our in. And it wasn't a coincidence that you both participated in the contest. I heard about the contest, so I made the suggestion to Sir Dover. He always wanted money for his sculpting business. I recall, Mr. Dover was a greedy man who was always after more money. Oh, so the angel's recipe is really worth that much? Okay, that recipe book was certainly valuable 18 years ago. But nowadays, most of the medicines it contains are available commercially. Ah, that's a shame. In the end, it seems that each of the contestants had the angel's recipe as their goal. All those unanswered questions 18 years ago. I should already have the keys. I need to unravel them. I must recall all the information that Mr. Shields and my father gathered. Operated until the finals. However, for the finals, I want to challenge Sir Master. Sir Dover made his entry. So Dover's son and my own attend the same elementary school. That's Parent Care Day, so that would be enough, to be honest. I think we need to go back over here and change it. We need to change the topic. Because, if he was gonna say anything more about Mr. Dover, it would have worked out. But it didn't do that. So let's ask about the semifinals here. So you're sure there wasn't anything different between the semifinals and the finals? Yes, that's right. Aside from not cooperating with Sir Dover, the finals were much different for the semifinals. So you're still able to make your desserts without Mr. Dover's assistance. I may have lacked design sense, but I was confident in the flavor. Apart from the design, there were no major differences between my finals and semi-final entries. Really? Huh? That sure is strange. That's not how Uncle Ray remembers it. Pretty sure both the look and taste of your final desserts scored poorly. Then there's no way you would have won the contest. Even the flavor, which he was so confident about, failed to materialize during the finals. Something must have changed beside Mr. Dover's cooperation. What? All those unanswered questions 18 years ago. I should already have the keys. I need to unravel them. I must recall all the information that Mr. Shields and my father gathered. You know what I think it is now? Because they're kind of alluding to it. His son is the one that's actually really good at this. That would make sense, right? Because every final, it would be the case. I don't quite see how that works out, but yeah, at the very least it explained why his was in poor taste. The finals were different because they kept visiting, and I just need to make sure that's said. And his body was found, There should be something that details the fact that he showed up. Every time except for the finals. came up to visit. Yep, there it is, right there. Got it, baby. Let's go. There was another difference between the semifinals and finals. This photo depicts your son. We know he came to visit you and up until the finals. That is correct. What does that have to do with anything? Your son, who always came to see you through the semifinals, was not present for the finals. And then it was only in the finals that your flavor judged poorly. I don't believe this is to be a mere coincidence. Your son's visits must have been very important to you, were they not? A father can work miracles when his son is watching. With my son cheering me on, I was able to make the most delicious treats. Mr. Gustavia sure sounds like a good father, doesn't he? If what he's saying is, the whole truth, one could say so. But just hearing his son's cheers wouldn't be enough to change the taste of his desserts. A confectionery, confident in his sense of taste, develops a taste disorder. It would have been difficult for him to maintain the taste of his desserts. Your son came to cheer you on. Was that really all he did? You seem very doubtful, said the prosecutor. In that case, I'll turn this around and ask you. What else could my elementary school son have done besides cheer me on? I want to say he made your desserts, but the more likely thing is he tasted them. He didn't mention he wanted to be the first to taste it, right? So my wacky idea isn't all the way there, and I'm really sad because that sounds like way cooler. I'm sure your elementary school son would have remembered the taste of your desserts. Of course! My son always loved my desserts. In that case, he would have been able to taste test your desserts in your place. What did you say? Earlier you told us that you have a taste disorder. I've never told this to anyone. Well done. As you say, I developed a taste disorder 18 years ago. No one else knew about your taste disorder. If Mr. Dover had found out, he would have ended your partnership. After all, you were in charge of the flavor. Your son didn't just cheer you on. He also helped you determine if your desserts tasted correct. Oh! Ah, I see. Mr. Dover's desserts was made the day before, so it still tasted good. What you are saying is quite amusing, Sir Prosecutor. You say that my elementary school son assisted me as a taste tester. You are insulting my pride. Your pride? It's true I had no sense of design 18 years ago. However, I won't lose to anyone when it comes to flavor. You claim I would cast aside my pride and rely on my son? Don't get carried away with your foolish conjecture, you upstart. In that case, I'm sure your son can confirm if my theory is mere conjecture. Unfortunately for you, I no longer have a son. He has a daughter now. Big trans. What? After my taste disorder was cured, I went to train in Xing Fa immediately. During that time, I severed all ties with my son. What? Don't tell me. You would even abandon your own son. That's not all. Even today, the whereabouts of his sons are still unknown. The police have been searching, but they haven't been able to find any traces of him. Is it possible that his son was Knightley? It was 18 years ago. Knightley might have grown up to be that way. And it would make a nice little tie bow onto everything, right? You wish to confirm your theory? I welcome you to try. Those are the only things that are important to me. After regaining my sense of taste, my son no longer mattered. Order in the court. Mr. Gustavia's actions are certainly inhumane. However, we are not here to judge whether or not he is a good father. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I believe this is your loss. After all, there is no evidence left from 18 years ago that could prove your theories. Mr. Edgeworth, is there nothing we can do? At this rate, we'll never find out the truth. Detective Gumshoe, where are those results? I wonder whose blood it could have been. I asked forensics to look into it, so... Right. I leave it to you, Detective. Oh, don't tell me! Don't tell me! Okay, Morbid died? What if he killed his son? Holy shit. What a vile man, if that is the case. Remember that blood that we don't have identification for? I entrusted Detective Gumshoe with the last piece of evidence. I knew who that blood belonged to. Miles, there's still one thing that's bothering Uncle Ray. Was Mr. Gustavia's only reason for coming to the art gallery? To check on the body? He had only wanted to confirm the body's presence. Wouldn't have needed to open the case. That's right. Is there a way we could prove this? There is one way. We just need the evidence from Detective Gumshoe. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what are you talking about? Mr. Edgeworth! Sorry to keep you waiting, sir! Just the person I was talking about. Detective Gumshoe, I trust you have the test results. Of course, sir. I just got the report back from the lab. Detective, please be silent. So this is the evidence that Prosecutor Edgeworth was talking about. Huh? Hey, what's this? This is the first I've heard of it. This is a request from me. I asked him to investigate a certain piece of evidence. Why? Why is everyone always helping you out? I'm the one in charge of the crime scene. Mr. DeBest, I apologize for taking matters into my own hands, but how about we hear his report first? Sure. Detective Gumshoe, what were the results? Here's the report, sir. The traces of blood found in the Gemini sculpture belong to the victim of the poison gas, Dame Gustavia. What are you saying? Good work, Detective Gumshoe. As I thought, my theory was correct. Mr. Edgeworth? What do you mean? We too would like an explanation. What on earth does this blood prove? This blood is something the culprit of the IS-7 incident tried to conceal. It can't be. This blood was found inside the glass case of the Gemini sculpture. In other words, your blood was found alongside Mr. Dover's body. Why would Mr. Gustavia's blood be in a place like that? You intend to remain silent? I'll reveal the truth myself. In the Gemini case, aside from the blood, we also found traces of salt and sugar. Salt and blood. and only one of Mr. Dova's sherbet desserts tasted salty. Come to think of it, I remember Miss Delicious saying the same thing 18 years ago. Oh, yesy! His sherbet was most delicious. Really? I wish I could have eaten some, too. There was one piece that was so salty I couldn't eat it. Salty? It's right here in this photo. It was a part of the lanyard. That's the lyre from the Gemini constellation. Exactly. For some reason, salt had been mixed into the lyre. And no other traces of salt were found in Dova's room. In that case, please explain, where did the salt detect in the lyre come from? Where did the salt come from? It couldn't have been there. It couldn't come from the Statutes of Limitation book. Oh! There we go, baby! This is... The rock salt lamp used as the murder weapon in the IS-7 incident. I believe part of this rock salt lamp was mixed in with the sherbet from the lanyard. At the time of the murder, there were 2 rock salt lamps in Mr. Master's room. One of those lamps took Mr. Dova's life. We know that Mr. Dova's blood was left behind on the murderous lamp. However, there were no traces of anyone's blood found on the crime scene in Mr. Master's room, because the killer disposed all the desserts with traces of blood into the streams of... Because the killer disposed all of the desserts with traces of blood into the streams of water, right? No other traces of salts were found in Mr. Dova's room. Speaking of which, weren't the 2 rock salt lamps found in Miss Delicious' room also broken? Looks like both the lamps and the pillars are broken. Both of the light bulbs are broken. Maybe they were dropped on the floor. Never did figure out why the other rock salt lamp was broken. I mean, Mr. Gustavia's blood was on the other lamp. Your blood was found on the lamps on the crime scene. You would have been suspected. As the culprit, you would have needed to conceal all traces of your blood from the police. Don't tell me he concealed it in the sherbet lyre. Exactly. The rock salt lamp and his blood were mixed into the sherbet lyre and hidden inside the glass case. Unlike the fountain's water, the sherbet deserts would not be analyzed right away. Perhaps he had planned to dispose of the sherbet when the opportunity presented itself. Then, the reason Mr. Gustavia came to this gallery... 18 years ago, the body and the evidence pointing to the killer were both stolen. Even the killer could not have anticipated that. There was no way of knowing when the body and the evidence would be discovered. Well, he planned to destroy the evidence before the Zodiac Art Gallery's grand opening. Don Gustavia, isn't it about time you confessed? You are the true culprit of the IS-7 incident. Monsieur Gustavia, you're the reason Monsieur Master is... Mr. Gustavia, could it be? After all this time, my crime is finally brought to light. The prosecutor and the defense attorneys 18 years ago never even came close. Bravo! Bravo! Well done, Sir Prosecutor. So you admit that you killed Mr. Dova? It is true. I killed Isaac Dover. But he had only himself to blame. What do you mean? Dover and I worked together in order to win the contest. No matter who won, we agreed that we share the Angel's recipe. But on the day of the finals, he stabbed me in the back. Sir Dover, this isn't what we agreed to. I'm sorry, Gustavia. The deal is off. What? But I made your desserts for you. I'm the reason you got this far. And what of it? Can you prove that you assisted me in any way? Dover, you were planning to betray me all along! Because of Dover's treachery, I was forced to make my finals entry on my own. It's just as Sir Prosecutor said. My son assisted me every day until the finals. And what about your pride as a confectionery artist? A proud chef loses the ability to taste his own creations. That's a feeling upstart like you would never understand. Mastering the art of dessert making is my reason for being. It's my one and only pride. Committing murder for the sake of pride is another feeling I will never understand. To say nothing of abandoning your own son, such a thought disgusts me. Before you judge me, you must understand what happened 18 years ago. On the day of the finals, my son never came to assist me. Thinking back on it now, I suppose Dover had a hand in it as well. Huh? What exactly happened to your son? I do not know, but it no longer matters. Ever since that day, my son meant nothing to me. From what I hear, he's still missing. That's awful! Giving up on him like that? Without your son, you had no chance of winning, correct? Yes. But since I was guaranteed to lose, I needed a failsafe. During the afternoon tea time, I made my way to Sir Master's room. I just needed to take a photo of the cure to my taste disorder. It would have all worked out. Only Dover hadn't interfered.